Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Percy Jackson Season 2, Episode 3, titled We Board the Princess Andromeda. Aboard a cruise ship, our heroes struggle to differentiate friend from foe, and this will be covering probably chapters 8 and 9, meaning we're basically halfway through this book by the end of Episode 3. Um, I don't know whether this is going to dip into chapter 10 because that's the start of something else, but it could. I don't know. Yeah, don't have as much time to do this recording as I would like, so really just gotta get it started now. One thing I do want to note from the last episode that I didn't pick up on, the boat that Hermes gives them, the little inflatable speedboat thing, was rainbow colored because in the book Poseidon gives them hippocampi, or more, when Tyson asks for it, Poseidon gives them hippocampi, and there's a larger one to support Tyson's increased size for being a Cyclops, who he names Rainbow, because a hippocampus is like half fish, half horse, and it's got rainbow patterns on it, so he names it Rainbow. So Hermes gives them a rainbow raft instead of the hippocampi, which is interesting because they're in the credits. So I wonder whether they're actually going to show up or if that's just the design, like on their armor and that. Don't know. But let's get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. Why? It's back to not starting when I press that button. I've seen a couple people get upset about Chiron for that, as if his entire thing throughout all of the books wasn't keeping things from Percy. Like, that was very in character of him, considering Annabeth knew the Great Prophecy at the start, yet couldn't tell Percy because Chiron said she couldn't for the entire first book series. Are we going to actually see Clarice get her prophecy? Yeah, the Minotaur horn. This is something we didn't get in the book. We only actually see the Oracle in books 1, 3, and 5. We don't see it for Clarice's quest, nor do we see it for the quest in book 4. Um, that's an issue. Not as much an issue as I thought. Huh. Who's gonna be her prophecy speaker? Herself. They left the most important line out. What are you gonna do, Clarice? Because your prophecy was the exact same. As it should be, but I wasn't sure what they were going to do considering things about her. Princess Andromeda. Named after the Greek figure. That's sort of the point. Tyson. And then Tyson will tell me. Yep. Human settlement. How do you think they survive without demigods being as abundant as they could be? Hmm. So we heard about this happening um in the book, but we never actually saw it. Hmm. They do look a lot more zombie than they did in the trailers. Yeah, Ares never did have that good of an opinion of Clarice when he we heard of him speaking of her in this book as Lestrygonians. She's already made it back to Luke. She is the daughter of Apollo. Okay, I figured that because of the bow she was using. Hmm. So he did. That was an actual dream. Wasn't sure if that was just pieced together in the start or. Interestingly, her knife doesn't look bronze. Yeah, she's got one of the staff cards. That's a scythe. Also, it's gold, so. Of course, they've got their own introduction. Yeah, that's a hellhound. Is this our first actual look at the hellhounds? Honestly, some of those events look like they could be fun. I've never understood how you can do bowling on a cruise ship. It would have to be closed on some of the more rockier days, I guess. Also, I should have pointed out ironclad ship, zombie skeletons on a ship of iron and bone. The first line of her um, prophecy has already come to pass. Hmm, they actually did have some deference to her. Stop it. Hmm. I mean, that is a fair comparison. What is your idea? Because they just stumbled upon them in the book. So, in the laundry cart. You couldn't even take Allison. You haven't fought in months, so I forgot Tyson did have incredible hearing in this book. I wonder if they're gonna do the exact. Yes, yes they are. Having him listen in through the door so that he can relay in the voices what's being said. You saw that. He's still got ears inside the camp. Because how else would he have known about Tyson being claimed? I want to see the artwork. To be fair, that wasn't a case of sparing. We're getting another boon in this episode, aren't we? Hmm. That is a drastic change between their. Book Luke would never say that to Annabeth. Nor do I think he would say that about Thalia. About the tree and be happy to see it fall. Not about the whole hating Zeus thing. They're almost the same height now. That's fair. That's gonna blow. Good job, Tyson. Doesn't really seem to be speeding them up that much. The cutting between the Percy and Clarice stuff is very interesting, because none of the Clarice stuff was shown. You had the chance to change your fate. Speaking to them or yourself? Hmm. Hmm. They have changed Tyson a bit, but he does still have the childlike nature. Hmm. Um, Maybe not the best idea. Oriented. I'm forgetting a line from the Great Prophecy. Hmm. A single half-blood of the eldest god shall reach 16 against all odds. That is the opening of the Great Prophecy. And that is no more information than what Annabeth has given us. Surprised he's even getting that much this hour, because he didn't know any of it. Well, sort of debatable as to if he knew the whole shall reach 16 part, but he didn't know most of it until book 5, when he actually heard the prophecy in full. What line am I forgetting? Uh, let's see. Okay, yep. That's the line I forgot. Okay. The arguably least important line. That's fair. So they did do some interesting stuff. The some of the stuff that they showed in the um onboarding video was actual stuff that was referenced in the book, specifically the Hellhound just eating from the buffet while mortals gathered around and didn't really notice. Um, Interesting, they don't have the twins. They seem to have replaced that with Allison and her crew. Because, it's meant to be. In, what page does this start on? I'm gonna assume it's chapter 9, 121. Interestingly, that Luke didn't say anything about them traveling with a Cyclops, by the way. Agrius and Aureus. They were basically Luke's right and left hand man on the princess. Um, Agrius. Hmm. Were the twin sons of Polyphonte and a bear, as well as them being the great grandsons of Ares. Um, Mythology. Polyphonte was punished by Aphrodite, for the former did not worship her, instead becoming a devotee of the virgin goddess Artemis. The goddess of love made her copulate with a bear. Hmm. And then because she was no longer um virgin, Artemis turned the forest of the animals of the forest against her. Yeah, yeah. Some of these stories are messed up. Um, yeah, they were the ones whose voices Tyson was mimicking when he was listening through the door in the book, not Allison. Um, I think that was also the first time that Percy heard him use someone else's voice, and it really freaked Annabeth out for reasons that I know, but people who don't know the books don't. The interest, the interesting thing of Luke not saying anything about Tyson, because he does have a line in the book about how she's besmirching Thalia's memory by traveling with a Cyclops. So that pretty much the closest that book Luke comes to what he said in this. That was a lot harsher than anything he ever said to the whole I was traveling with her for 2 years, you knew her for 2 months. Like, um, yeah. We didn't get the figurehead of Andromeda bound in chains. That was mentioned in the books. Then again, I didn't really pay attention to the. We did see the front of the ship, so trying to see if I can get to where it would be. Um, yeah, because Andromeda. I should know this because it's in the book, but wasn't she Perseus? Andromeda. The one that Percy saved bound to the rock? Yeah. Ethiopian princess chained to a rock is a sacrifice to the sea monster Cetus after her mother boasted of her beauty, only to be rescued and married by the hero Perseus. Yeah. And the cruise ship in the book has her chained as the figurehead of the ship. Um, there wasn't that much different. Seeing the whole demigods and monsters down there working, training, getting along, that wasn't in it. Having Tyson down there to, I guess, humanize the monsters on Luke's side by relating to them in a way is that's new. It's a fair touch, but still new. See, trying to think of anything else of note. Um, all the Clarice stuff is new and surprising. We get to see a look into Ares's frame of mind when dealing with his daughter, with what he's saying to the Confederates. Not Confederates. They're not. They were only Confederates in the book. They're any war in this. Well, let me rephrase that. The CSS Birmingham was manned only by Confederates in the book. Here it's manned by a bunch of different wars. All of the wars were still related to Ares in the book. It's just he chose from that one specific one for this quest, not just pick and choose from any and all. They do look a lot more zombie than they did in the trailers. Having the guy from Blockbuster who lost the streaming war. To be fair, makes sense, especially when you consider Ares' comments in last season about Twitter wars and that, for them to bring another more modern day thing. But having them not respect Clarice at the start is interesting, and her having to give a speech relating to them, because that was very much her talking to herself as well as them. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with them, because they seem to be switching that up a little. Yeah, don't know. Um, but I don't really have much else to say, nor do I really have the time to think of anything else to say. Oh yeah, the mortals on the Princess Andromeda weren't just mindlessly going through the motions like they were in the book. Like, there's a funny line in here. It's like, we are heading to the pool. We are having a great time. Showing just how brainwashed the mortals are to not notice the things around them. Like, the mist is really clouding them. That they're basically zombies in their own right. But that's not really in this, so. I'm gonna end this one here. Very interesting, and Clarice is actually seeking out Percy now. At least that's what I assumed from her saying Jackson at the end, when she learned that Tantalus was incorrect about what he was saying. But yeah, so the next episode is going to be interesting. Let's see if I can go back to doing the predictions for what the next. I'm going to say the next one is named after Chapter 11, titled Clarice Blows Up Everything. Because the title of Chapter 10 does not really work anymore. That's, we hitch a ride with dead Confederates. And as I said, they're not just Confederates in this, so. Yeah, I'm gonna end this one here. I'll catch you in the next one.